Mr. Chairman, appreciate your opening remarks, and I certainly appreciate also the distinguished service that the nominees have already provided to their nation, and truly appreciate the fact that you're willing to step up to the plate again and serve your nation in new capacities here. So we have some, I think, first-class nominees here, and I'm looking forward to your testimony. What is being contemplated, however, in the United States Senate, I think requires some comment, and I'd like to utilize my opening remarks to talk about what we were talking about in both of our caucuses. The majority is contemplating taking action, breaking precedent, basically breaking the rules to change the Senate rules in a way that I believe would be incredibly damaging, if not very destructive, to the United States Senate, this institution that we totally revere. And it is doing it on the basis of what I think certainly the folks on our side of the aisle believe is a manufactured crisis. It has to do with nominations and supposedly Republican obstruction and apparently our blocking of nominations, but here are the facts. In the 111th Congress, there were 920 of President Obama's nominations confirmed, only one was rejected. In the 112th Congress, 574 nominations were confirmed, only 2 were rejected. During the 113th Congress, our current Congress, there have been 66 nominees confirmed, with only 1 being rejected. Hardly a record of obstruction. In terms of cabinet nominees, just in terms of the length of time it's taken to get confirmation, President Obama, his cabinet nominees have taken 51 days on average. During President Bush's administration, it was 52 days. During President Clinton's administration, it was 55 days. Again, President Obama has been certainly given due consideration. His nominees have been really moved forward very, very rapidly. In this term, in his second term, President Obama has already confirmed 28 judges, or the Senate has confirmed 28 judges compared to 10 judges in President Bush's second term. This is a manufactured crisis, and I'm not the only one that believes that the nuclear option would be incredibly damaging. This is the words of Majority Leader Harry Reid. When he wrote a book in March of 2009, he said, "The nuclear option was the most important issue I'd ever worked on in my entire career, because if that had gone forward, it would have destroyed the Senate as we know it." It's not the only thing Senator Harry Reid has mentioned about the breaking the rules to change the rules. He said, "In violating 217 years of standard procedure in the Senate, changing the rules by breaking the rules is about as far as you could get from a constitutional option." He also said, "For people to suggest that you can break the rules to change the rules is un-American. The only way you can change the rule in this body is through a rule that now says to change a rule in the Senate rules to break a filibuster still requires 67 votes. You can't do it with 60 votes. You certainly cannot do it with 51. But now we are told the majority is going to do the so-called nuclear option. The parliamentarian would acknowledge it is illegal. It is wrong. You can't do it. And they would overrule it. It would simply be, we are going to do it because we have more votes than you. You'd be breaking the rules to change the rules. That is very un-American." And finally, he said, "The American people, in effect, reject the nuclear option because they see it for what it is, an abuse of power, arrogance of power." Lord Acton said, "Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely." That is what is going on. The rules are being changed in the middle of the game. They are breaking the rules to change the rules. Regardless of one's political affiliations, Americans understand this is a political power grab, a partisan political grab. Vice President Biden commented on this when he was a senator. He said, "The nuclear option is ultimately an example of the arrogance of power. It is a fundamental power grab by the majority party. It is nothing more or nothing less." Former Senator Christopher Dodd, in his farewell address, said, "But whether such a temptation is motivated by a noble desire to speed up the legislative process or by pure political expedience, I believe such changes would be unwise. To my fellow senators who have never served a day in the minority, I urge you to pause in your enthusiasm to change the Senate rules." Now, Senator Murphy, neither one of us, unfortunately, had the pleasure of serving with Senator Robert C. Byrd from West Virginia, somebody who, certainly as I watched the Senate from afar, was acknowledged as somebody who revered the Senate, fully understood the rules. We unfortunately did not get to have him speak to us during an orientation, but he gave a very famous orientation speech on December 3rd, 1996 for that incoming Senate class, and I would like to take some time because I think his words bear repeating. He said, "Let us clearly understand one thing. The Constitution's framers never intended for the Senate to function like the House of Representatives, in other words, be a majoritarian body. I have said that as long as the Senate retains the power to amend and the power of unlimited debate, the liberties of the people will remain secure. The Senate was intended to be a forum for open and free debate and for the protection of political minorities. I have led the majority and I have led the minority. And I can tell you there is nothing that makes one fully appreciate the Senate's special role as the protector of the minority interests like being in the minority. Since the Republican Party was created in 1854, the Senate has changed hands 14 times. So each party has had the opportunity to appreciate firsthand the Senate's role as guardian of minority rights. But almost from its earliest years, the Senate has insisted upon its members' rights to virtually unlimited debate. When the Senate reluctantly adopted the cloture rule in 1917, it was made the closing of debate very difficult to achieve by requiring a supermajority and by permitting extended post-closure debate. By the way, back then the supermajority was 2/3 votes. Now it's 3/5. This deference to the minority view sharply distinguishes the Senate from the majoritarian House of Representatives. The framers recognized that a minority can be right and that a majority can be wrong. They recognized that the Senate should be a true deliberative body, a forum in which to slow the passions of the House, hold them up to the light, examine them, and through informed debate, educate the public. The Senate is the proverbial saucer intended to cool the cup of coffee from the House. It is the one place in the whole government where the minority is guaranteed a public airing of its views. Woodrow Wilson observed that the Senate's informing function was as important as its legislating function. And now with televised Senate debate, its informing function plays an even larger and more critical role in the life of our nation. The Senate is often soundly castigated for its inefficiency, but in fact, it was never intended to be efficient. Its purpose was and is to examine, consider, protect, and be totally independent, a totally independent source of wisdom and judgment on the actions of the lower house and on the executive. As such, the Senate is the central pillar of our constitutional system. The Senate is more important than any or all of us, more important than I am, more important than the majority and minority leaders, more important than all 100 of us, more important than all of the 1,843 men and women who have served in this body since 1789. Each of us has a solemn responsibility to remember that and to remember it often. And finally, in a speech he gave on May 19, 2010, Senator Byrd said, "The Senate has been the last fortress of minority rights and freedom of speech in this republic for more than 2 centuries. I pray the senators will pause and reflect before ignoring that history and tradition in favor of the political priority of the moment." I have that same prayer. I came to the Senate because this nation is facing enormous challenges. You, in serving this nation, will face enormous challenges. We simply cannot afford to damage this incredibly important institution, the United States Senate. And I hope our colleagues on the majority side contemplate exactly what they're doing. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you and look forward to the testimony.
Thank you very much.